So I will do one thing. I have got a general question to each one of you. You can deliberate one after the other. I will start with Ashish Saxena. Ashish, this question is common for everybody. How do you see the positioning of insurance industry in the next decade, next 10 years? And what are the pain points? Because maybe pain points from government, pain points from regulator, pain points from ecosystem. So whatever comes to your mind on these two aspects, I think we'll be able to give 2 to 3 minutes to each one of you. You can quickly elaborate and focus on where do you find this industry to be? Your industry, if you are in health, if you are in life, and what are the pain points? So shall we start with Ashish?
Yeah, right, sir. So I feel that the future for the industry looks promising, and specifically if I talk about the health insurance industry, because the good news is the benefits of this digital transformation journey which is happening, and it is an ongoing journey. It is not something which is going to end in next 2, 5 or 10 years. This will percolate the benefits to policyholders in the form of more access to healthcare, especially at the time of when there is uncertainty surrounding the pandemic, or even if there is no pandemic. I'm sure the expectations of the customers have increased to a greater extent. Talking about the pain points, again, if I talk about my specific health insurance, we are an ecosystem where we have insured insurance company and the very important stakeholder, the providers, where the entire pricing or the claim cost depends upon the cost of treatment. So I think something where still there's a huge scope among providers and payers to have a common understanding, because every private insurer is not having that kind of negotiation capacity like PSUs where they can go and demand premium. Right? That is a challenge for private companies. How do they how do they identify some more avenues where they can negotiate with the providers and get best rate for treatment without compromising any quality of care? So I feel that is one pain point which
Fine.
we need to work on.
Okay. Coming to Atri Chakraborty.
It's an ongoing journey, and the couple of areas which I can think of. I mean, I won't say they are pain points, but we need to work on. One, clearly policyholder protection, which is where there is still instances of malpractices, mis-selling, which how do we curb that? I mean, how do we completely eliminate that as an industry so that customers can trust us? I think that's one. Two, there is obviously frauds, which there are areas where we see that frauds impact the industry, and how do we again as an industry get together and prevent and detect such frauds. Third, I think the pricing of certain government schemes, I think we as an industry have been going back to the government as well on certain products like PMJJBY. I think the support from the government on this would be helpful on the pricing side. And clearly the regulator has been very, very supportive in terms of the development of the industry. But I think everywhere, like we want to be more responsive to customers, I think the regulator, we need to work with the regulator, and the responsiveness needs to be much faster on products, and how do we get more and more innovation in the industry. So these are some of the thoughts that I have.
Atri, can you throw some light on Section 45, because of which probably it is reported that the claims get reported only after 3 years when you cannot reject a claim?
So this is something where again the industry is looking at specifically for the fraudulent claims.
Yes.
So so today we can call a policy into action within 3 years of the policy being in existence. But there are instances where there is medical non-disclosure. Right. There are fraudulent intent which is behind taking a policy, and which is where the Section 45 restricts the life insurance company to investigate within the 3 years to call a policy into question. So I think it is all good for policyholder protection. But very clearly, the industry should stand behind genuine claims, and that's
Right.
that's the objective of life
Obviously.
insurance.
Good.
So I think that's my thoughts on it, and as an industry, we are sharing some of our thoughts with the regulator.
Good. I will ask the similar question to Azad, Keshri, Mishra ji, as to where do you find the industry maybe 10 years going forward, and if at all there are any issues which you think that need to be looked into by government or by regulator?
Sir, obviously, I feel that the focus will be on the rural Bharat, not because I'm part of the rural team, because there has been huge disparity, as you mentioned about the 1% penetration, insurance penetration in GI industry, I mean, for India. There is a lot more disparity if you see the insurance penetration at the urban level and the, rural area. So it will be important for us to develop a small ticket size product, which will be easy to comprehend, which you can clearly communicate. We should try out various digital initiatives to create awareness why insurance is necessary for them. I think government regulators are also trying different mechanisms how to increase the penetration. There has been a discussion on the sort of model village for insurance adoption. There is a separate discussion that is going on.
Yes.
So all these things will, and there are a lot of relaxation that is in the regulator also, whether it's appointing micro insurance agents or village level entrepreneur common service centers have been allowed to distribute insurance policy all across.
Yes.
So these are some things that will be the future, I feel, sir.
Don't you have any issue with the state governments not paying you premium on time in case of crop insurance? Is it not a pain point?
It's a pain point, sir. It's a pain point.
It's a major pain point because technically you cannot undertake risk unless premium is received.
And obviously it will have an implication of the solvency margin also. So it's a pain point discussion with state and metro.
Okay, good. Now moving on to Ajitha, Menon, from TPA perspective, I would like your views to be heard on what issues do you face actually, and what are the challenges that you may have going forward?
The industry is poised to go, and so we expect the TPAs also to grow accordingly. Right, when you talk about the pain points, the main important thing is the out-of-pocket expenses burned by the beneficiaries, which is falling on the TPAs today because we go back in panel on a specific rates in the hospitals. The providers don't stick on to that particular rates, and the outflow has not been accounted properly. So the very important pain point for us is when we sign an MOU, we'll have to ensure the hospitals stick on to the rate so that the beneficiaries also get the benefit out of it. They have not been asked to pay more, and the insurance company also get the benefit because they know the outflow actually what is happening. That will be very, very important for us to control. It is not only controlling, to make sure, right, we know what the expenditure is, the out-of-pocket expenditure, and secondly, the audit and the risk, right? We'll have to have an IT infrastructure in place so that human intervention is always not possible going around doing this. But then we'll have to ensure some sort of a logistics is being worked on from our end, and we do an analytics based in an office so that 80% of the work can be done in-house, and based on the triggers what is happening, and it's just a minimum 10% going on to that field doing the investigations and audit to ensure that every the providers, the beneficiaries, insurance company, all of us are happy with the way we perform today.
Ajitha, there has been a talk that when some patient goes to a hospital, the hospital authorities first ask him whether do you have health insurance.
Correct.
And if so, the bills get inflated to that extent.
Correct, sir.
What is your experience on that, and whether hospitals should be regulated? Is it high time that hospitals are not regulated, as a result of which for the same line of treatment, the hospitals charge X amount of money to one who doesn't have insurance, and X plus something for somebody who has insurance?
Correct.
It has been the experience. So what is your view on whether hospitals need to be regulated?
Yeah. So when we go back and talk to the hospitals, for the same treatment, we find different sort of billing happening even today. When we talk to the hospitals, they do agree saying that they look at the patient, they look at the corporate policies they've been given, and they bill accordingly. That is where I said, when I sign an MOU with the hospitals, my pain today is to ensure that they don't collect anything more. So
Correct.
that will be the work for the TPA from Menon to ensure that when a hospital signs an MOU, we'll have to be, whether it's a BPL population or a corporate policy or a retail policy,
Right.
we need to ensure that they don't collect anything more, and it is just one billing which is happening across both to all hospitals.
Correct.
That is our pain point, and we'll ensure we work for it, sir.
That is required. So we end our discussion here. I thank the panelists for actually having good insight into the subject. And since there were a variety of panelists today, the discussion was quite useful, and it had a different angle, because otherwise everybody will keep on saying the same thing. But because you were from the different health, general insurance, agriculture, rural, and TPA, so it was really quite interesting. I must thank you for actually giving me a different perspective as well on various issues. And I'm sure the market is going to increase exponentially in India, because one is everybody knows the 3 trillion economy is going to be 5 trillion quite soon. Obviously, the per capita income is going to increase, and with per capita income increasing, the allocation of family towards health, towards insurance, towards property, vehicle insurance, so on and so forth, is definitely going to increase. So as the per capita income increases, always it is seen that the disposable income, when goes up, the insurance premium goes up substantially. So I am quite hopeful on the insurance sector, insurance penetration going up steadily year after year. And whatever pain points you have raised, I'm sure they will be taken care of at your industry level with the regulator and with the government as well. I thank Dr. Gurisharan Dhanjal for giving me the opportunity to moderate this panel, which was quite interesting. And I'm sure the viewers also would have found the discussion quite interesting. So we stop here. Thank you very much, SKOCH, and thank you very much, Dr. Gurisharan.
Thank you,
It
everyone.
was absolutely an exhilarating experience. I must congratulate and compliment, the way you bound the panel together, because the panelists coming from diverse fields, as you rightly said in the beginning itself, that this is, quite a diverse
Yes.
panel, and putting all of them together on the even keel and running with the discussion and with a clean takeaway. It's been very well done. So very true, as you rightly said, the panelists also talk about that life insurance premiums, have actually gone up. The penetration has improved by a few percentage points, thanks to the challenges posed by COVID, and non-life insurance premium has also increased. Coming to even the penetration of the health insurance, the people have become even more conscious. But the fact remains, there's also a question mark on health premiums, that it's the same person, the same family, which has increased their coverage, rather than new number of subscribers coming into it. So it's like you say that India is the most mobile penetrated country, but the point is that out of 1.5 billion people, if 1 billion people are having mobile phones, is it the number 1 billion mobile phones or 1 billion people having mobile phones? So those are the things which still remain. And correctly pointed out that the difference between the charges levied by or charged by the hospitals, there is a huge variation. Something which can cost 50,000 rupees without insurance costs maybe double with insurance. So as a beneficiary, I don't stand to gain, but as an industry, there is a lot to lose. So probably, some bits and pieces need to be tightened here. Yeah.
Right.
So, well, thank you all very much.